afternoon. Oh, thank you. It is such an honor and pleasure to be here with all of you today. And it's also just wonderful to be in France. So I want to say thank you to our hosts for the invitation. I've been thinking a lot about the reconstruction of Notre Dame, and it is such a testament to the humanity of the human. This building, cathedral that was built so long ago through incredible technical excellence in an artisanal fashion, and captured the human spirit. And here, after a great disaster, the resilience of the human spirit has brought it back again completely. And I think as we think about the question of technology and the human, to have the case of Notre Dame in mind and to think about what it means for that incredible artifact to exist over centuries and have a place in human hearts puts in perspective technology, puts in perspective the question of how the social and the human interact with each other, the technical and the human. So I am going to extend the conversation about AI ethics for my keynote. I'm going to extend beyond safety. Safety is fundamental. As we all know, with automobiles, the innovation opportunities increased after safety became a serious concern. Once brakes were added, cars could go faster, then transport networks could be broader and the like. So it's true that safety and innovation do align with each other. Yet safety is not enough for us to answer the ethical questions that we currently face. We are in a moment of comprehensive socio-political transformation driven by technology, and we need mental models to think about that change. My talk with you this afternoon has the title of A Time to Choose. I think we are at a point where we do have a time to choose with regard to the paradigm for technology development that we put at the center of our work. Before I get to that content, though, let me just introduce myself a little bit more. I'm a combination of a Harvard professor and democracy advocate. I have done a variety of things over time, but when people ask me what I work on, I always give the same answer, just democracy, past, present, and future, with no question mark at the end of that. And I say that coming to you from the United States, okay? There are a lot of us with that deep and persistent commitment. And I also like to share that I come by that commitment to self-government for free and equal citizens super honestly. To start, it's a matter of my basic family inheritance. So on my father's side, my grandfather in the 1940s helped found one of the first chapters in northern Florida of an organization called the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And that was an organization that fought for the right to vote, fought in the civil rights movement. When my granddad did that work, it was a super dangerous time. Lynchings in the South were on the rise. So he was literally taking his life into his hands to secure the right to vote. On my mother's side of my family, my great-grandparents helped fight for women's right to vote. So my great-granddad marched on Boston Common, our big public square in Boston, in 1917 to make the case for women's right to vote. So from both sides of my family, I come from people who see empowerment as the bedrock for human thriving and well-being. My granddad was willing to put all material concern to the side for the sake of securing the right to vote, believing that humans flourish most when they can steer their own lives in the private sphere and also in the public sphere working together. That's the commitment I bring into my work. That commitment to basic human empowerment has obviously been profoundly challenged in recent decades by the structure of our economy, by how technology is developing, by specific political unfoldings in the United States and elsewhere around the world. But the point that I want to make today is that that project of human empowerment is basic. Human beings are not merely creatures of bread. We don't survive on bread alone. We survive also through respect for dignity, through the respect for that spark in each one of us, which is about our capacity to judge and choose, regardless of the level, regardless of the caliber of our expertise. We all have that. So, what are we living through right now with the age of AI? And what ethical questions are on the table for us? What I want to suggest is that right now, we have moved beyond the point of speculation and beyond the point of hypotheticals with regard to thinking about how general-purpose AI technologies transform human life. We have also moved beyond the point, as I said, where safety is enough to think about. Because of the general-purpose nature of AI technologies, they are, as you know, working their way through every single sector of society, the whole of the economy, the whole of society, the whole of political institutions. We're living through an age that I take to be roughly equivalent to the age of electrification. There's the time before electricity and the time after, the time of the horse and buggy and then the time of the automobile. And that time gave us completely different ways of organizing both the economy and politics in the world. In the wake of the age of electrification, the globe saw an increase in state capacity, the ability of states to set policy to steer the lives of their people. And throughout the course of the 20th century, we had a profound argument between two different paradigms for how states might deploy that capacity. In the wake of the Great Depression, we had the rise of Keynesian approaches to economics, social democratic approaches, where state capacity, public sector dollars were put to work stimulating economies, building social safety nets, putting an ethic of solidarity at the center of policymaking. Yet, that approach to the muscular deployment of public power also resulted in excessive regulation, a stifling of innovation, stagflation, and the like. And so that Keynesian moment was then followed by what we have come to call the neoliberal period in political economy, where people like Friedrich Hayek and Milton Friedman gave us a different picture of how state capacity should be employed. They made the argument that we should deregulate as much as possible, let price and market steer as much as possible, power innovation to the maximal degree. And we've been living through the last 30 years through an economy around the globe that has shown us the effects of the neoliberal model, with incredible concentrations of wealth inequality and income inequality, especially in the most developed economies. And all around the world, as people pursued that second model, the focus was on the idea that productivity, collective aggregate output would increase well-being, that would lift poverty, lift people out of poverty, generally improve human situations. But the challenge with that model, for all that that was true and global poverty has been reduced, the challenge with that model is that it neglected human dignity. That drive for empowerment that I described by referring to the work of my grandfather. And so all around the world, we've watched as people have risen, people frustrated by the fact that technocratic economic systems have been unresponsive to them. And so we're living in a moment, I'm sure you've heard many people argue this, where liberal democracy is under challenge, where that neoliberal economic paradigm has collapsed,